Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Old World. This is part 2 of the Rome challenge map that I've been playing. It's turn 92. We're looking to set up some agent networks in Assyria. We have Control 5 naval units as an ambition. Ooh, 100 science, that's going to be good. Which, we're going to get that ambition from the Chthon, just auto-producing ships for us. So that's pretty solid. Our family opinion is very strong. Champions starts out at 100 right out of the gate because they're freshly settled. We have a lot of tribes over in the west. We're hoping to expand a little bit before Assyria beats us even further. We did finish our Colosseum, which is a huge win. So we're going to leverage that swordsman to do a lot of clearing. Mostly at this point, my thinking now is to expand to the west, settle a couple more cities, just honestly mostly for the territory to heal, because at this stage in the game we have 24 points on Egypt, we have 20 points on Assyria. We have not met anyone else. So they could be significantly higher or they could be right around the same point level. But given our location on the map, we are destined to have to conquer Egypt and Assyria, most likely, in order to win. One thing I don't think I realize, even at this stage in the game, I don't realize it until quite a bit later, I believe, is that the point to win threshold on this map, part of this challenge, part of this save, is significant, is pretty high. Also, worth pointing out, I'm stacking luxury resources in this city in order to boost culture rapidly and lower discontent. So that's a thing to look out for. But 90 points feels pretty high to me. And I'm going to have a moment where I kind of like run into a bit of a reckoning with that at some point where I realize, wait a minute, how am I going to get more points to win this game? You know, things are going to shape up to be a little bit tricky. Frugal is always a good trait. What is my consideration here? Okay, so I'm not gonna want a slum in that city because slums can be annoying. And I also don't really want to disappoint my spy master because my spy master is heading my statesman family. Their opinion is pretty high, but it's not worth it at this point. Plus, I mean, another ambition is solid. Stacking as many ambitions as you can gives you options, which is always nice. I mean, you can also end up failing them for legitimacy hits, which is not ideal, but... And honestly, actually, learning when to not accept ambitions is a bit of an art, I think. I think oftentimes I'm neglecting ambitions or rejecting them because I just don't see them as being feasible and I don't want to take the legitimacy hit. And I really dislike when ambitions become legacies too. Making some pretty decent use of this navy. It's well promoted, so that's nice. But I don't use a navy all that often. And in fairness, is because I don't really play maps with a lot of water. Constitution coming online. Finally have our 4 laws. We're not even going to bother. We're going to build our stronghold, but we're not even going to bother with any 6 strength unique units. We're going to wait until we have 7 laws. Charming, that's always useful. Culture. I feel like I don't. Oh, know what we do? We do go with the cruel. And the reason for that is strict. I'm thinking that once I start building military units out of this city, if that governor is still alive, then we're going to want that experience. More culture, even though we're already legendary. Legendary 2 could be a second point at some point. So we have 2 free sites down here, 2 available sites rather. We really want to try and expand into those to get a footing outside of the peninsula, with which that's going to be our staging area to conquer Egypt. And this is, talk about lucky, right? I have an ambition to get divine rule as a law. I'm nowhere near, well, I'm not aiming towards legal code at this point, which I should be, by the way. That's still a mistake. I should really have been, with the capital I have being as strong as it is, I should really be gearing up for citizenship and scholarship. And I've mentioned this a couple of times. And if you're newer or not as familiar with the ins and outs of the game, the strength of citizenship and scholarship specifically, and why I relate it to, I keep mentioning, I have a legendary city, so I should get these, is because the courthouses and the libraries, they're gated by culture, right? So if you have a strong city, and it's relatively easy to get a strong cultured city, you'll be able to put 2 of those buildings in those lines. So like a courthouse and a ministry, or a library and academy in the city. And that's going to give you a total boost of 50% science or 50% civics in the city. It's very, very powerful. But the thing is the highest tier building of both of those lines are locked to legendary, and what the highest tier offers is another 50% boost. So in a legendary city, one of the reasons why I value kind of like shooting up to legendary as quickly as possible, and then in some games also beelining to scholarship as quickly as possible, because if you can kind of align those 2 things, you'll end up with a strong city that's already producing, like I'm already producing 67 science in the city right here, and 70 civics. That's amazing. That's really strong. That's great output. And I don't even have a courthouse or a library in that city yet. Oh yeah. I could just cut this out, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how yet. I know this is a part of the video, part of the recording, where I noticed something about when the app I was using to record video in game stops working. I hadn't noticed this until this moment. When it stops working, right? I, for some reason, I can't use hotkeys anymore. So I can't hit the escape button to access the menu. I can't press other buttons in the game, on my keyboard to do stuff. So this is me reloading the game to try and refresh that. So anyway, yeah, I'm fairly certain I don't even have a courthouse or a library in my capital. And I have a free orthodoxy. This is also great. So I just got free, look at that, free divine rule, free orthodoxy. I already had 4 laws. So just those 2 events in the last couple of turns, I'm now only 1 law away from my 7th law, which, combined with the fact that I'm piloting this swordsman around, is going to be really great. It's going to be a great combo. Yeah. Also, I often play with the game muted, and I mean that from like a computer level. My computer is muted when I'm playing. So one thing that I find that's nifty is that the sound is still coming through on the game, which that didn't even occur to me. I can hear that when I'm listening to this after recording the audio. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I feel like I owe some listeners an apology, because the music is muted. There's no music that's going to be playing in the game. I already have drama, obviously. So you'll get sound effects and you'll get me rambling, but no soundtrack. And the soundtrack for the game is pretty amazing. But I typically play the game on mute. But that might be changing soon. We're mostly in a development phase now. We got a good goods boost coming online. I like that. Goods boost is a really good bonus card. It's I'm gonna be honest. There were a string of patch notes in the last year where each bonus card has been getting buffed, like to double or maybe in some cases even triple the effect. I think mostly just double. And every time that happens, I get so tickled. We have a second swordsman online already. And the reason why it amuses me is because for most of my time playing this game, I have always taken advantage of the bonus cards. So the goods boost used to be 200 of all of the main resources, and I would pick it up. The gold boost used to be 2,000 gold, and I would very often pick up 2,000 gold. But they were both doubled in like the last 6 to 8 months. And I think it's so funny because I'm just sitting here being like, great, cool, more free stuff. That's fine. I'll take it. We're still eyeballing the Wonder Game. We want to gobble up as many as we can. Again, mostly for points. The Via Rectus Souk is going to come in handy a little bit later. We only have 4 luxury goods, right? But as we expand, and I kind of mentioned, we're going to hit a point where I'm not really sure where I'm going to get points. Opulence projects, which is something that comes from Behind the Throne DLC. That's a great way to pad points into your empire. This output is awesome. 1 turn specialists. And this is one of the reasons why I think developing a city as best you can, but obviously we have statesman bonuses here, um, contributing a large amount of civics. A friendly statesman family gives you 6 civics in your cities, which is just pretty wild. I don't know why. Oh yeah, I forgot. I wanted to put the amphitheater here, but instead I put a market. And I don't know why I didn't still go down there and put the amphitheater next to the slum. Instead I just build it up there for some reason. We got Phalanx. See, I think now I'm making the decision. Yeah, see, I corrected myself now. I realized I made a mistake, and now I'm adding in the third hamlet. Normally, I don't really stress too much about adjacencies, especially as you get later into the game. You know, it's going to be post turn 100 soon. I don't care about making a perfect barracks formation at this point. Although I say that, this is why, you know, I'm just a liar because I say that, but in this champion city, I am going to make, I think, a perfect barracks formation. Or maybe not. We'll see. 25 training off the Colosseum. Love to see it. 7 turns on the Heliopolis. What I should be doing, although I don't know that I have monotheism yet, but I should be spamming shrines. I think we delay that a little bit. With this ship, what we're doing is we're hunting for another civilization. We know where Greece is. And in reality, I should be looking for Greece. I should be looking to make contact with Greece because, again, they have the mausoleum. They're far away. I don't know what their score is, and I should be figuring that out. But I also kind of want to figure out who else is in the game and where they're at points wise, because I know I can see my corner of the world. You know, I'm not too far behind the other 2 nations, but I could come across, you know, Kush somewhere in the wilderness, and they could have 50 points right now, and I would just have no idea. And if you get a point threshold like that, well, then I'd be in serious trouble. But the thing about higher difficulties is that's pretty interesting is that everybody's impacted by the same stuff, right? So, you know, I feel like a lot of different nations on this map are probably getting raided just as much as we are, you know? Like Egypt is pretty solid in points, but they're not massively far ahead of me. You know, and their capital is, you know, just below this, you know, where the camera is right now, and they still haven't even expanded this far north. So I have to imagine that's because of the way they've been rated. What do I go for here? Oh, I build a road to connect. Yep. We're going to jump around a lot. I really apologize if this creates a little bit of whiplash. Oh, so this is funny. I opt to put the slum. Oh, do I? Oh, no, I cancel it. Never mind. Both my swordsmen are pretty low health. I'm being bold with them. But that's another reason why I wanted to settle cities over here, because, like I said, I want the healing more than anything, honestly. Also, these are going to be worth points, but I need a staging area for if I end up at war with Egypt, and mostly to heal my troops. Seeing Assyria and Egypt having axemen and slingers, things like that, at this stage in the game is very encouraging, because I don't know about the rest of the world, but on this side of the world, I get stirrups for free. That's great. A courtier, also great. On this side of the world, it's entirely possible I have the only 8 strength units at the moment. And that is a huge, huge advantage to have, which is one of the reasons why I like to get the Colosseum. One of the reasons why I like to rush 7 lots. Look at that. Oh, man. Wow. Wow. Am I going to risk it? No, I don't want to lose a swordsman. I go into the city. But this guy comes out and he does his business. There we go. Takes care of that. I feel like this rebel came from religious descent. No? Maybe an event. We're working on our officers now. We're gearing up for courthouses and libraries. And I'm also getting all my officers online. And remember, the great thing about the Colosseum is that it works off population. So unlike elder poets, which work off citizens specifically, so every time I'm building an officer, I'm losing 3 civics from that citizen, because I'm assuming I have 3 elder poets in that city, or at least 2. So that building an officer for 2 training actually loses me 2 civics, which is fine. That's a fair trade. Do I want to be a judge? I feel like the answer to this question is no. I will take 20 orders. Capture a foreign capital as an ambition. We're going to go with it. Target acquired. So we cut it pretty close, expanding into those barbarians. Yeah, see, Egypt is building archers. They have spears. I see a couple slingers. So I have 2 swordsmen. I'm getting hydraulics. Why I'm getting hydraulics is because that's going to get me access to the crossbow bonus card, which is going to get me 2 crossbows, which is another 2 8 strength units. By the time I have that, I should have another swordsman. So that's going to give me 3 swordsmen, 2 crossbows, and then I'm 1 law away from the ability to build my own 8 strength unit, which means I'm probably about 10 turns, as little as 10 turns away from being able to confidently invade Egypt. Let's see if I get that right. It's 101 now. Maybe not 10 turns, but I'm going to guess that I invade Egypt by turn 115-ish, give or take, maybe 5 turns. I know that's a loose prediction of like 20 turns, but my point being is I can... Here it is. Here's my 7th law. Yep, that's 7, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 2, 4, 6, 7. Yep, that's 7. So great. So this is what I'm saying. I am 2 turns away from being able to use the bonus card. So it's probably going to be something like another 4 to 6 turns, depending on if it comes up in the draw before I get it. I believe I built the Colosseum on turn 85, so I'm 4 turns away from a 3rd swordsman. That's just such an crazy, crazy powerful wonder. So, yeah, in about 10 to 20 turns, I will have a force that Egypt should not be able to contend with. And all of that, at this stage in the game, is coming almost exclusively from an economic development play. You know, I've hunkered down on this peninsula, and I really just leaned into making a monstrous capital. And that's the reason why I'm still not going beelining specifically to scholarship. I should have done it sooner, but I'm now at the point where I want to supplement those swordsmen with crossbows and start taking those points away from Egypt. Not that they're close to winning. We've made contacted with Babylon, which is great. We've also made contact with Persia, which is great. So look at the scores. Okay, 29 on Egypt, and as low as 24 with myself and Babylon. So I'm in the running, which is great news. Critical hit, clear the barbarian site. We're doing Horsebane. And the reason why we're doing Horsebane, I think, oh, there we go. We got some lovers. They acquire, spoke to, I believe, do I give them this? Oh, no. I checked their opinion first. They're pretty pleased with me so far. So I don't give them the free technology. I was debating it, though, because, again, I'm going to be looking to infiltrate Babylon and make peace with Babylon. Because the other thing that I have to consider, right, off of the library is that even though I am at peace and getting science from both Egypt and Assyria now, if I recall correctly, last time I checked it was 16 science, but I think at this point I'm getting something like 40 from combined from both of them. But the thing is once I go to war with Egypt, I'm going to lose that. So that's the other reason why I sent that ship out to find new contacts, is because I'm looking for other sources of science. I've settled champions right here, another champion spot, and that's mostly because it's harder to take champion cities than other cities. I got to start thinking about entry points. This part of Egypt, oh man, I am all over the place. This is probably going to be the part of the game where it gets a little tricky to follow. My entry point is going to be Tassanet right at the coast. And I'm going to push straight for the capital. And the reason for that is because all of the cities in the east in these woods are significantly underdeveloped. I mean, you got a strong city there, but mostly if I go straight for the core, that's going to disrupt them the most. So I'm just going to kind of barge in to disrupt them as much as I can. Debating the orders boost, but no, it's citizenship time. Can't delay it any further. Free legitimacy. The Numidians probably will not bother me at any point in this game. And remember Barium, it's building walls at the moment. That's automated. It's got autonomous rule. Wow. 7 discontent too. It might be worthwhile to use the Chancellor to reduce that, but I don't think I'd go for it. Okay, I get peace for 137 gold, and that to me is worth it. Now all I need to do is wait for the infiltration from my spy master. We're going to upgrade to a spearman, and a couple of our guys are promoted to horsebane. And the reason for that is because I see some elephants on Egypt. Babylon has dromons, and more than two, so that's not just the bonus card that they're working with, which tells me that they are technologically advanced. So, in spite of their score, Persia is not doing well. This is great for me. And I've discovered Greece. So, Greece, look at this. Even with the mausoleum right now, Greece only has 27 points. So, this is at 100 turns into the game. The other nation with the highest. Oh, here we go. Okay, so yeah, I'm getting 32 science from the Royal Library from both Egypt and Assyria combined, right? So that means if I go to war with either of them, I'm going to lose 15 science. So I'm looking to recoup that with my kind of overseas investments, right? I'm going to go down the line between Babylon, Greece, and Persia, and I'm going to try to infiltrate, connect, and peace all three of them. And then my goal is to keep that status for the rest of the game while conquering the western side of the world. But yeah, so Egypt actually has the most points in the game right now at 29, and they're looking like the easiest person that I can take. So this is just a huge win for me right now to discover like what's going on in the world. I spent the first pretty much ever since Greece built the mausoleum, I had a lot of anxiety about how many points they would have once I found them, because I don't know how much territory that they have access to. Swift, Besieger. We go with Swift. What are we looking here? To legitimacy. A little bit of growth in all my cities. Yeah, so I have to imagine that Greece does not have good access to expand. And that bodes very well for me. A bit of a capital update. We have 75 growth, 68 training, 58 civics. Pretty solid. 73 science, and we're halfway to legendary 2. That's nice. For our ambitions, we have control 100 population and capture a foreign capital, both of which we'll be able to do by conquering Egypt. So that's nice. Also, Egypt and Assyria are in an alliance, which means if I fight one of them, I'm going to have to fight both of them. And now it's even more important for me to get my science online through the Royal Library with the other folks. And I'm bringing my navy down towards Egypt. Egypt has something like 60 orders per turn, which is twice as much as I do. But that's actually the case with most of these nations. You can tell that because sometimes when you look in the lower left corner and like the turns are loading, it'll give you a glimpse of how many orders people have. 300 training, I'll take it. Scholarship. There we go. 3 turns. A little late, but I figure as long as in any game, as long as you're getting scholarship by turn 100, that's fine. I like to, or at least I used to like to get to it as quickly as possible. So 60, turn 70 scholarship. But in reality, it's fine if you're getting it on turn 90. Generally, I have a goal when it comes to like overall game pacing that I want to have something. I want to have around 200 science by turn 100, and we're pretty much at that. At 187. And that output in my capital is going to be increased by 100% once the scholarship is researched and my libraries are finished. I'm going to go around and build some courthouses. I do that to increase my global civics income, although it's kind of going to be useless in that autonomous city. 4 turns on horsemen. Build a few of those. That technology was also recently made more accessible, which I'm a huge fan of because I never really went for it. And I didn't notice that until it was adjusted over the summer. It dawned on me that horsemen, like chariots I use, but horsemen specifically are a unit that I don't see a lot of action in my games. And that has changed since they were made just a little bit cheaper. They were brought in line with the other units of its tier, which I appreciate. Looking to infiltrate Greece, although do I catch myself here? Because I think I've realized I haven't influenced. Yeah, I did. Infiltrate Babylon. I ran a mission against them, but it did not succeed. So I hadn't noticed that. Family opinions are really great. This is another actual benefit of playing tall at first. So you figure with the first 100 turns, I only had about 3 cities. What this actually means is that settling these other 3 cities now, 100 turns later, the discontent is nothing. And more importantly, not that it might necessarily play a factor, but I have all the buildings and technologies that I need to address rising discontent. That's the other thing. So turn 100 and your new cities are going to be lower discontent, and it's going to be easier to maintain the discontent. So my family opinion is just pretty solid. This is also very funny because it's just dawning on me now. I love that this is the first video that I'm making because I have divine rule and a pagan state religion. And I've probably spent 2 years complaining about divine rule and pagan state religions and and how useless I think that whole thing is. And yet, here I am playing a game where a core part of my strategy, and not even for the extra orders of the newly buffed divine rule, but part of my core strategy turned out to be pagan state religion and divine rule for the opinion. It's coming in handy. Checking around, we're going to establish vision over here with Assyria. I believe I just saw mangonels, but I'm not 100% sure. They definitely have plenty of siege, which is nice to see. So they're looking like they'll be a little bit more of a challenge than Egypt is going to be. We'll see how that plays out. A little bit of meticulous planning here, kind of getting ready to prep the inevitable invasion of Egypt. 800 gold, that's not too bad. We have plenty in the stockpile. Every now and then I mouse over the Colosseum and the Chthon to get a sense of when the next unit is coming out. It's important to remember that you can do that. That way you don't have to keep track of it yourself. The tooltip will let you know. So I have the Heliopolis, but I do not have monasticism, which is unfortunate because that is a synergy that I could be leveraging more. Yeah, I'm checking that out now. It looks like I'm also eyeballing the Hagia Sophia, which will be useful for a newly conquered swath of territory. That's something I like to combine pretty often. I could be spamming archives. That's something I like to do once your civics output is so high that they'll be done in a couple of turns, because all told, I think you get over 100 science from the whole batch, and that can be worth it. Sometimes it's always a hassle to figure out what you're going to do with that one last order. It can be a little annoying. We're going for forums here. And kind of what I mentioned in the last video, a reason why I like that is because you get refunded civics. So even though I'm developing my city a bit. Wow, there we go. I love extra happiness. Ooh, a mercenary war elephant. That's always handy. Even though I'm developing my city a little bit with a forum, you still get that refund go back into the global stockpile. And one thing that I'm thinking about using my civics for now at this stage in the game is rushing out units. That's another common strategy. Trying to put networks all across Assyria. My main target here is Egypt, but I want to keep tabs on Assyria, and I will very likely need to attack them as well in order to win. Oof. Another Marine promoted boat. I love that promotion so much. That'll come in handy while invading these two coastal cities. Setting up my anchor now. Gearing up for my invasion force. We're a big fan of mills here. They're always amazing. They're great for the 2 science, just as a baseline, but then they make your outputs worthwhile everywhere. See, I put a couple of mills in the capital. They're not even enhancing anything, pretty much. But they're worth it for the 2 science, or the 4 science in the capital. Also, if anyone from Mohawk is watching, I'm telling you, there's a weird bug where if you hit undo, it doesn't undo just one move, it undoes the last two. And people at Mohawk say they can never replicate it because more than one person has brought this up. But I'm telling you, it happens. We're going to build our mills right by that iron resource. We got barracks coming online. We have an onager. Siege weapons are amazing in this game. $600 gold coming out of the capital. That's great. I decided to go for the opulence point. Probably don't need it at this moment, but it's another opinion boost. Do I change my mind? No, I don't. Another opinion boost. I can afford it. Get it out of the way. Two turns away from my crossbows. So remember, you're going to get two of those. Such an incredible bonus. I'm going to be honest. Some games I'll straight beeline for that. Like I go straight for it. Especially because crossbows are really, really strong against an ancient force. Oop. There we go. Also, with the way Egypt is kind of scattered out right now, I have a sizable guesstimation of what their army looks like. You know, I'm seeing a bunch of spears, handful of slingers, a couple of elephants. Here I am. I'm just moving into position. Old World is a game where alpha strikes are incredibly strong. And, I mean, this is a classic strategy game. You know, I don't want to call it an issue because I don't want to make it sound like I really think it's that big of an issue, but it is pretty easy to kind of set yourself up for an attack. And there's really not much your opponent can do about it. I don't know if they've ever looked into the idea of an opinion bonus with the whole nearby troops thing, but I don't know how much impact that would have because Ruthless AI, which we are playing with, by the way, this game is a ruthless match. I don't think it I don't think it does what it's supposed to. It was changed recently, but I don't play with Ruthless usually. But in games like this, you know, when I play a map, there's a lot of players that do, right? So sometimes when I have a player give me a save or I'm playing a challenge or something, I end up playing with Ruthless toggle on. And I'm going to be honest, I still haven't noticed much of a difference, you know? There's this idea that as you're closer to winning the game, the world is going to try and stop you. And I still think that the computer, and this makes sense, right? It really does. I still think the computer is kind of beholden to power levels, right? So if I have a stronger army than a nation, or, you know, in this case, right, if the nation is clear across the other side of the world, are they going to bother attacking me? I don't think it matters if their opinion is minus a million. It's going to make a power assessment, a logistics assessment at some point, and say, no, there's no point in attacking this guy. That's probably the weirdest trade I've ever made. I think I just traded something like 7 science for 4 wood. And I mostly just did that for the opinion boost. I'm trying to get Greece pleased so I can get a peace treaty with them. Oh, here we go. The library. We missed that. Feel free to go back to that if you didn't catch it. But the Great Library, Babylon, peace treaty, infiltrated nation is giving me 60 science per turn. That's huge. That is more science than I'm currently getting from Egypt and Assyria, which means if I attack Egypt or Assyria, Babylon is going to make up the loss. That's great. 60 science off of the Great Library. So in total, because I'm at peace with all three of them, I think I'm getting something like 90 to 100 science off of the Great Library. And I still have 2 nations to make peace with and get in touch with. We have peace with Persia. We're going to infiltrate Persia. And all we need, the last step is to just get our boat to connect. Righteous. I think I go with the other one. No, I go with righteous because I want to keep discontent down. My opinion's already high. I don't need more of it. Cavalry cult. This is amazing. I'm already building horses in this city. So that's great. Oh, man. Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about. I feel like now we're at a stage where I feel like this is going to be so hard to follow. But I would be playing this way even if I was live streaming. I feel like I'm not going to be a good person for these types of videos. I realize I don't need to do a trade mission with them. I can go straight for peace now. So diplomacy is actually playing a factor in this game pretty heavily. You know, diplomacy and trade, which is nice to see. You know, diplomacy is a powerful tool, and it's nice that these guys are off in the distance because I feel like if they were right next to me, sometimes it can feel a little cheesy to placate the AI with, you know, bread and circuses and just kind of undermine them. But I mean, that's part of the game, right? That's part of the genre. You backstab people. Do I catch it? I think I do. Yeah, I realized. Wait a minute. No, see, it did it again. It undid the last 2 moves. Building a library. Oh, yeah, no, my ministry is going to go here. I thought I was going to build a ministry with the other worker. So I got a library coming online. I have a ministry coming online. My science. I think I already touched on the fact that my science out around turn 102, 104 was something like 180. Because they were talking about wanting to have close to 200 science by turn 100. It has been less than 10 turns, and my science is now at 240. Actually, most of that comes from Babylon, from that from that royal library. I built a bath here, but I'm going to be honest, I'm not 100% sure why. Egypt, Greece, myself, and Assyria and Babylon are all within just a couple points of each other. We're taking a look at the tech tree here, trying to figure out where we're going next. Reality is I should be picking monasticism right now, but I don't. Ultimately, I go with the minister, and I'm going to explain why. Steel was one turn, right? The court minister is one turn. If I go with the tech, I'm going to lose the bonus card, obviously. But basically, this is going to allow me to use steel as another reset at some point. So if I'm trying to beeline to something and I get text that I don't want, you always want to, oh, look at that warlike. Training at 95. 95 training in the capital. Yeah, so if you're trying to beeline something, you always want to research the lowest technology. So in the case where I have a technology that I'm not really prioritizing, and steel I'm not prioritizing, I don't need it. I get free swordsman. I have my unique unit already. I do not need steel, not right away anyway. So I'm actually going to go for the free courtier because that's going to keep the one turn technology of steel in my deck in the event that I need to cycle. That's something I do. It might come out in the wash because it's still in the deck, so the fact that you can draw steel might mean you're not going to draw the tech that you want, but it feels like a good play to me. Oh yeah, they're building militia, they're building an archer. Archer in 3 turns, though. They have decent enough production, but I'm getting my unique unit in the capital in 3 turns, so this is looking very favorable for me. I think I'm debating... I need a better agent for this. Heroes are better for treachery missions, but I think I go for this anyway. Yeah, I do. Or do I wait? Yeah. This is nice to do when you're preparing to an attack because treachery on an unwalled city will immediately cut the HP in half. So that's really powerful. If it succeeds, you will cut the HP of a city in half if it doesn't have wall. Basically, it does minus 10 damage. And I do not believe that scales with wall level. So if you have walled cities in an enemy empire, then it has less of an effect. But the computer doesn't build a lot of walls. Peace with Greece. Martial code. So this is another good grab. The reason I like martial code is obviously... wow, I can't remember the name of the law. Holy War. Holy War is a incredibly powerful law. But outside of that, our unique unit bonus card is attached to martial code, which means that's another opportunity for us to get 2 more 8 strength units using our science output, our 250 science output. So this is a way in which you can leverage a strong economy into a military advantage. Egypt and Assyria are allies. So this means now when I attack one of them, I'm going to attack both of them. So this is another great reason why I have Babylon as a backup for science, because now I'm going to lose all of the science from peace with these two nations. And I'm going for it right here. What did I say? Oh, man, I was exactly right. The first call, 10 turns. On turn 101. I mean, I guess I've played this already, but, watching it, I don't remember. So, how impressive is this, I guess? But on turn 101, I said I would declare war in the next 10 turns, and here I am. And as I said, I'm going straight for this city. I'm going to be honest, normally it is smarter to take out military units. But this is really going to throw them into disarray because by taking this city, I'm going to cut off the left half of the empire from the right, which means they're not going to. I don't know how much military they have over in the woods. It seems like most of it on the left anyway, in the west. But let's see if I pull this off. Look at that. It's just devastating. Onager. If I take that city that I'm aiming for, they're going to lose that water movement. Is that Legionnaires in one turn? I catch that right. That must be overflow. There's no way I have 180 training in the 160 training in the capital. Okay, so look at it. There we go. Remember, Egypt had an order advantage. I did not take the city right away. Now I'm blocked in here. This is going to be fun. Also checking the damage down here. Everybody's okay, though this city will fall. That boat is coming in handy. What I'm looking for here is something I can attack the city with to bring the wall down. That way I can one-shot this thing with a crossbow and then use my other units, my other really powerful units, to keep doing damage against these soldiers. And we're just going to go fortified. So this is the strength of just a few 8 strength units. Because the elephant at this stage in the game is their only 6 strength unit. So it's not looking that great. I'm having a situation here where I don't want this warrior to die. But I think they're gonna. Or maybe they don't. Look at that. That's devastating. Also, by killing so many units so rapidly, we're getting massive amounts of legitimacy quickly. Egypt's power level is still sitting at similar. So that's good news for us after all this time and low development, or military development anyway. We're running even with them, and that's because we might have less units, but ours are just so much more powerful. Our resources are a little low. But that's okay. So only 2 turns into a war, and we've already captured a city. Persia has been revealed. I think I've forgotten because of my war that I need to connect to them. skipped a step. I'm also at peace with Greece. I need to infiltrate on them. Let's see if I remember this turn. They did kill one of my swordsmen. So, that's not ideal. But the big thing in a war is you got to make sure that you're killing more people than you're losing. Look at that. One hit, I kill 3 units. Just devastating, absolutely devastating. Could do it again. Well, 2 units. So with 2 attacks from 2 units, I killed 5 of their units. It's just, and see, there we go. I just went up another 10 legitimacy from this attack. It's just devastating. So it's pretty safe to say at this stage, I feel like there's not much recovering Egypt can do. And look, there we go with the Marine promotion. Massive amounts of damage there. And we have another opportunity to create an amphibious ship. Amphibious ships are probably my favorite ships. But like I said, I don't really like to build boats. And, well, in all honesty, I'm not actually building boats in this game. They're all coming from the Chthon right now. So that's kind of funny. I don't really care about this city. I'm going to be honest. Not a priority. I can take it back. Yeah, not a big deal. I'm counting 2, 4, 6, about 12 units that I can see right now. Maybe 15 in this whole picture. And depending on where they're positioned, I can kill 2 or 3 with a single hit. Oh man, and now we have Romulus with the mysterious sword. Get these guys to deal with this rebel. I wonder what causes that. Oh, I think I put a slum in that city. We might have religious discontent. And look at that, see? Oh, wow. Do I go for it? Oh, I just run out of time. I run out of space. Oh, that's so annoying. Oh, you know what it was? I moved a ship out of this little bay, and I end up regretting that a whole bunch. More than once. Holy War. Now all of my incoming units will have an extra promotion. Very powerful. And I can purchase with gold. I opt for a settler here. I believe do we stick with it? Oh yeah, no. We go back here because I don't have my state religion. And now we go for ballistas. Ballistas are very strong. Ballistas are a great unit because they're strong for the entire game. Their upgrade is really strong, but ballistas remain strong because of their bonus against infantry. So they're almost always worth building. See if I can figure that out. Yep. Oh, I run out of orders. That's annoying. That's annoying. See, and those are the moments where it's like I might think about using undo, but I try to avoid it. Let the chips fall where they are. Sometimes, like I said, I will use it for damage planning in combat because I might not. A great example of that actually is generals, right? Specifically the commander generals. If I have two commanders, I can't actually tell how much damage they're going to do against something unless both units are directly next to the thing. Here we go. Assyria. I just spotted an Assyrian swordsman. So this is telling me something because there are no free swordsman bonus cards in the tech tree. What this means is that Assyria actually has access to swordsmen. So I am mopping the floor with Egypt, but Assyria has the potential to give me an actual fight. Invincible now. Wait, what? Oh, see, that right there is the chief example. While I will never intend, multiplayer, fine, challenge maps, fine, but I will never not play with undo because I just reached up into that city to grab my unique unit to attack that city, and I grabbed the settler. That right there is just why undo is just absolutely essential to me, because I do that type of stuff all the time where I try to click on something and it either moves itself automatically or I click on the wrong thing and I don't notice. And so then all of a sudden I've just force marched a settler clear across the map for no reason. So annoying. The great news here is I have a tactician leader. The best possible leader I could have in a situation where I'm also up against other swordsmen. I don't see any other ones nearby. That's a really cool item, but I don't want it. I actually think I forget to move my... Yeah, I think I just forgot to move my leader in that turn. So that's annoying. I lost the city that I settled, but that's okay. Taking massive damage against a swordman. I have no anchor in this area. I'm pretty fully committed to this situation. This is the thing about crossbows and swordsmen. They combo so well. Because one does pierce and one does cleave, and they're both so strong. Oh yeah, this is where I realized that I messed up. But, force march. Yeah. So Egypt's looking pretty spent. And I think what I start doing here is, yeah, it's time to move my fleet north, because I can see that Assyria has ships. but there's no movement on that front yet. So I need to make sure that I don't get landfall on my peninsula. One turn away from Manor, which is another opportunity for 8 strength bonus cards. There are 2 longbowmen attached to Manor. So let's math this out. Machinery gets you 2 crossbows. Manor gets you 2 longbows. Martial Code will get you 2 unique units, unless you're like Kush or Babylon, and then you can actually go from Manor to Bodkin Arrow to get you 2 unique units. There's 1 or 2 other exceptions there too. I think Assyria and Persia are locked behind not ballistics, the one before ballistics. Anyway, point being is you got 2 crossbows at Machinery, 2 longbows at Manor. You have your unique unit for most of your nations on Martial Code, and then if you got Colosseum in the game, you have a swordsman somewhere around turn 80, if we're being, generous. But you can do it much sooner. So that is 7 8 strength units that you can get just through science, just through economic progress. Resources for building the wonder. And then, 7 laws will get you your unique unit. So between your unique unit and all of those bonus cards, I feel like you have a sizable army. And then siege are always useful. Like I said, the ballista, always useful. Onagers, always useful. I mean, they definitely get upgraded with mangonels, but they're always useful. A bit of an unhappy statesman family situation, but we're going to rectify that real quick. Egypt building conscript. So they got high in score, but it doesn't look like they did that great in science. I'm eyeballing their territory to see what we're working with, and I'm not expecting much from this side of the map. I still have not connected to Persia or Greece, and I really need to remedy that. Beat 2-time legionaries, so that's going to boost my forces further. University started. 60 science. Isn't that insane? 25 civics. 60 science from the university. Or 50, my bad. 50 science and 25 civics. Rome should hit legendary 2 soon. Check this out. I still don't have navigation. Turn 116, no navigation. Who needs it, right? Serfdom, who needs it? Wow, that's funny. I played a game at some point in the last month where I never researched iron working. That was pretty funny. Yeah, nice. 2 kills with a spearman. Love to see it. Trying to get some damage up here. Do I go straight for the settle? I do. Look at that. Champions again, because again, it's harder anyway. You get a 50% defense bonus. We're just going to wade right in with the leader. I'm going to be bold and move up with these onagers. Might not be the right play, but probably should have built a mill, but I'm building roads because I want to keep my siege flowing north. I'm going to try and go right up this whole valley. I think I get a little overzealous here, because most of my forces are dealing with Egypt. But it didn't take. I think I'm doing. Yeah, I'm doing 3-turn onagers in this city. It's the champion seat, but I settled this very, very late in the game, and it's already serving as a quite viable unit pump. 3-turn onagers is not bad at all. Getting bold, going straight for the city. This one has a wall. That's nice to see. Take me a little extra time to knock it down. Love being charming. You get a bunch of free XP off of events like that. Boy, I really hope I figure out that I need to make contact with Egypt. Nope, not Egypt. Persia and Greece. The war is obviously distracting. Gonna spam lumber mills. Still developing in the capital. I could be building some more units, but I want some elders up. My 100 population ambition is at 78 population, so conquering Egypt really going to help me. I think this might make me realize. Look at that, 230 science from exploration. I know that went by really quickly, but so yield outputs increase based off of the length of the game and the size of your empire. So, if that were turn 40 in the game when I only had 2 or 3 cities, that science bonus might have been like 50 science or something like that, right? I don't know exactly. However, because I have the exploration law and I sent someone exploring, there is an event in that chain of events that can pop up if you keep sending people exploring. It doesn't happen all the time, but I think it's useful to know there's 2 events. One that will give something like 30 science, and another one that will give something like 50 science, right? But then as the game drags on and you have more cities and the inflation increases, the one that gives you 50 science is worth something like 230 science, like we just saw. And the one that, worth less is worth something like 70 or 80 science. So not insignificant. And look, this is just an army of 6 guys just destroying a nation. Some ships have showed up. Triremes. So this is interesting. Unlike Babylon, Assyria does not have dromons yet. That I can see anyway. So that's good for us. 30 population in the capital, by the way. So that Colosseum should be worth 30 training now. Also worth noting that all effects that scale on culture level do continue to scale once you're legendary. So going from legendary to legendary 2, it's going to get you like another 2 civics off of an elder monk, or 2 science off of your elder um, doctors. So that's really good. Professional army, that's a good one. Volunteers is also very good. Um, did I undo that and not reselect anything? No, I stuck with it. Volunteers is also very good. Great use of growth. You have to be careful with it. Volunteers is one where you want to put a little bit of production into your builds, because you can get something that costs, something like 4 population to rush out. But if you put just like 2 turns into it, it'll go down to 2 population. I don't really know the algorithm for it, but it's a very fickle one. So oftentimes people say that you shouldn't put production into stuff you're going to rush, because people are concerned about overflow. And I'm going to be honest, I actually don't really buy that. But anyway, I mean, the math works. To be very, very clear, the math is sound, but I have thoughts on it. Anyway, but with volunteers, it's better to make the most use of the population that you have. So rather than spending 4 population, let's say you only have 4 populations, citizens, right? 4 citizens. Rather than spending all 4 of them on one thing, it's better to spend, 2, 3, 4, whatever turns. If your production's not that great in the city, production, turns worth of production on each thing you're going to build, and be able to rush 3 times out of the city with your civilians, rather than just rushing the ones. So volunteers is great, but it kind of bucks conventional wisdom in that you want to use it to speed up production, but not by spending all of your civilians on just one thing. This is a point where I begin to realize I'm gonna need an actual navy. I don't know why I chose not to retreat that ship. In fact, as I just joked, I still don't have navigation. So I'm gonna need to switch. I think this is the part where I'm figuring it out. I think I end up going with onagers here, because onagers are also really great coastal defense. Honestly, they're phenomenal at it. I think I'm realizing I have another Romulus, by the way. I'm currently ruling with Romulus the Third. I go with the schemer. Ooh. Alcibiades. Love that event. He's a good general. It's great to have a general who's your lover, because they do better in combat. Me realizing I'm about to lose the city. Sometimes I can get a little tunnel vision, especially when I have a couple of different fronts, oh, I'm dead. Oh, I got assassinated. We have King Romulus the Fourth. That's so sad. I love a tactician ruler. 20 years to capture the capital of Egypt. 20 years to get 19 population to hit 100. So I think I'm okay on that front, but always sad to lose a tactician leader in the middle of a war. My longbows are up. My free longbows. I'm sending them over here for coastal defense. The other great thing about killing multiple things with one unit is it just really ups the experience. You get experience for everything. So I'm going to move this guy down here, I believe. Yeah. Because that city over there is going to fall next turn anyway. I try to be really intentional with that. If I know that my hit this turn isn't going to kill someone this turn, sometimes I might save the order or and just use the 2 attacks next turn. Or I'll do it the other way around. I switch out of vaulting here. And there's a reason why I'm doing that. Vaulting has a bonus card attached to it that gives you 1 level of happiness in all of your cities. So I kind of queued that up. See, here we go, 48 science. That's the other one I was talking about. Although the 200 training probably would have been nice too, but she would have stopped exploring. So I queued up vaulting and got it to 1 turn. And the reason for that is because the bonus card that will put 1 happiness in all of my cities is something that I'm going to save. I'm getting it ready to use once I fully conquer all of Egypt. What that will do is give me a freshly conquered empire where most of the cities will either have 1 happiness in it or, assuming that some of them took a while, were waiting around a while for me to conquer the whole place, they'll have still very low discontent, which is good. I lost another swordsman. That's devastating. We're looking at pikes up here too. So Assyria does have a modern army. This is a bold, bold play. I'm just throwing units at the problem. Critical hit, that's good. Do I choose not to move that longbow? I wonder why I end up doing that. Polytheism, finally. So spamming out shrines will be a way to up my orders output. I have 51 orders now, which is still less than most of the people who I've been playing against so far. Finally going for navigation. Turn 120. So, and that's the thing. The interesting thing about this game is, and I'm totally guilty of this, by the way, I will talk very often about how, this is essential or that is necessary and yada, yada, yada. And there's some truth to it. So, a scholarship beeline is very strong. And I do believe that you should have scholarship before turn 100 or around turn 100 as, the latest benchmark possible. Ideally, you get it, turn 80, turn 70, something like that. If you're doing the scholarship beeline, like I've mentioned more than once, it's not necessarily essential anymore. But there are some players who are like, oh, I need to get navigation, I need to get serfdom online in the first 30 turns. That's doable. Especially with Rome, you start with iron working. You're 2 techs away from it. So, but really, basically, where I'm going with this, you can do whatever you want. This game's really flexible, as long as you know what you're doing. So we're slotting in serfdom, taking a look around, see if we need to make any changes. We don't need the science from centralization anymore. I'm going to switch to vassalage for upkeep purposes. Central is good early, but not really late. I'm force marching this. I have realized that I've wasted far too much time getting over here. Two cities down. Only 3 units protecting the capital. I'm gonna lose another swordsman, I think. Although I think I have the output to stop this. Force march. No, I do not want to zealot. Swift. Yeah, look at that. Almost no health on this guy. No, I'm realizing I have no force march. So I actually don't know why I bring him down here, to be honest. That city's done for. And I have a lone swords... legionary? That's funny, I can't even remember the unique unit of this nation. I never play them. Honestly, it's funny because the last time I played this, I played another different challenge map presented to me by Solver. Maybe I'll make a video of that one. That one was fun. I've already played it, but I think I would play that one again. Although I effectively just did the same thing I did in this map, which was play landowners, tight, tall, get a massive capital, and then just send unique units and stuff across the world. I don't think that game had the Colosseum, though, so that'll be a shakeup. Anyway, the last time I played Rome was from a map that Solver put out. I never intentionally played this civilization. Now we're starting to spam shrines. Every shrine is worth 1 order because of the Heliopolis. It's another one of the more powerful wonders in the entire game. It's usually better if you're already set up for it. So a cleric's civilization like Egypt, you spam shrines all day long. Just spam them. And then you rush to legendary, you build the Heliopolis, and you have 3 times as many orders as anybody else. Then if you're feeling really cheeky, you rush to Trade League and, coin debasement? Fiscal policy, that's it. The final economic tech. And you can sell orders. And at that point in the game, you can just do whatever you want. The Via Rectus Souk came on. I have no idea if I'm saying that correctly. Via whatever. Anyway, that came online, so I'm going to start sending luxuries around, but that becomes a question of orders, actually, while I'm still actively combating people. All right. The capital has fallen. We're going to force march back to protection and heal up. Things are looking a little dicey in this city. I mean, in terms of long term, we're fine, but I'm so bold here. I have no units. I have no units. I know they can build swordsmen. I know they can build pikemen, and I'm just going for it. Sometimes at this point in the game, I can get a little tunnel vision, I can get a little overzealous, and I can just be like throwing units rather than playing more cautious, which is the better way to win. Because then you just end up losing units for no reason. Like I lost that swordsman earlier. I love the happiness outcomes. I think that was another exploration result giving me 48 science. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and say Egypt is done. That about sums it up down there. This is funny. I believe I moved this worker here to build that mill. And I don't think I ever do. I think I completely forget about it. Egypt still has over 40 orders. Persia was 60. 70 something on Assyria. See, we got longbows, and they just killed a guy. They killed one of my unique units. You have 3 longbows over there. Zamra, they're a good character. Oh, and they're a rising star too. Yeah, that's great. I want to keep Babylon happy. They're giving me a lot of my science. I'm going to go with Builder. Really past the point of actually needing that, a builder in this game. But I actually think there's a wonder left that I didn't build. Oh yeah, so the thing with the happiness boost, right, that I mentioned about saving doctrine. The other thing that's in the game is the Hagia Sophia. I think I might be building it. So between the 2 of those, you can get 3 happiness levels in all of your cities. So if you plan it right, even if you just start building the Hagia Sophia and you don't complete it, you like stall it. If you plan it correctly, you can fully conquer a nation and make it so you get 3 happiness in every single city that you conquered, which means you'll increase something like, look at what am I doing? It's just so funny. You'll increase your empire by, a dozen cities, and they'll all be happy. You'll have no discontent. Wow, look at those legendary cities. Here we go. Great library, royal library. 60 from Babylon, 40 from Greece, 30 from Persia. So in total, that's giving me 130 science on this map. Took me a while to make it fully pay off, but 130 science out of my 450. Not insignificant.
And, whether it's worth it or not, I mean, I definitely think it is, obviously. 130 science is amazing, for a wonder. But, it's a fun little mini game. That was fun to set that up, to send out a ship to go exploring and make contact with these new nations and make peace and then set up this infiltration, do a little espionage. And my main payoff is massive science output. The issue that I have, where I'm being a little bit silly, is that the majority of my major fighting force is cleaning up in Egypt, and I'm sending these stragglers towards Assyria, when in reality, I should be taking a step back, consolidating my forces, and reversing that, sending or leaving behind just a few stragglers, like a swordsman and maybe two swordsmen, right? Leave behind two swordsmen, and I should be migrating everybody else towards Assyria. Look at this. Look how bold I am. Like, swordsman. Funny. These two guys are going to whack at the city. Yep. Silly. I don't think I needed to do this. Oh, wait. Yeah, I did. Okay. Man, religious discontent is annoying. Two of my families are now of a foreign religion, but I captured the holy city, so that should be good soon. I have Manichaeism. In the back, there is, in the Assyrian location, I believe that was an onager. Couldn't quite tell. Zamra makes an amazing ambassador, by the way, pretty consistently. She did something like 65 foreign opinion. Looking at my vast trade network. Egypt is done for. This is just a matter of time down here. So at this stage in the game, what I'm thinking of is what's going to be my plan and my route into Assyria. Well, maybe I'm not specifically thinking that because I keep just throwing random units up that valley. Still probably in tunnel vision mode. Yeah, trying to move the little bit of navy that I have. I'm getting coinage. Trying to get myself up towards Dromans. So that was over 200, just like 200, 220 science in the capital. And 130 science from the Royal Library. Just to give you a comparison. And the 220 here from my capital is the highest science city that I have. So my Royal Library, I think, is producing more science than any other city I have in the Empire. Cartography. This would probably be a really good map to use steel research on as well. Making contact with foreign empires would open up the opportunity to steal from them. And I'm going to be honest, with even like a nation like Babylon who has Dromans, how much of a threat are they actually going to be? I don't really know the answer to that question, because in my experience, if you end up at war with someone on the other side of the map, even if they advance on you, right? It's not that they won't do it, not that they're incapable of invading you. That's not the issue. The issue is you have 10 turns before you can just sue for peace. So, with all the technology, all the ships, and all the units in the world, where Babylon is right now, there's no way they could actively threaten me in 10 turns. Although, worth mentioning, with Ruthless AI, that probably doesn't apply. So maybe that's one reason why maybe I should start considering playing it more. Because Ruthless AI, wow, that's a nice crit. Ruthless AI is much more fickle about agreeing to truce. So maybe I would be able to rely less on diplomatic safety. Still, I would be very interested. I'd be curious to see what would happen if a nation like Babylon right now on this map in that corner were to attack me. I've never seen that happen. Not that I've never gotten attacked, but like I said, I can always just sue for peace in 10 turns. So sure, I might see ships show up or whatever. But it would take a lot to have a successful invasion from that distance. I don't even know that. Actually, that's the other thing. Come to think of it, I don't even think their units would be able to cross the ocean. I think the anchor distance would be too great. Even if they came up with a big enough chain, I don't think there's enough fatigue to fully cross. All right, we're lining up that Hagia Sophia. 17 turns. We're going to have that placate the masses in our newly conquered empire. Oh, the Circus Maximus, that's what's left. Oh, you know what? I realize that's what it is. I don't really have a place to put it. So I don't believe I build that one, because my capital is already surrounded by wonders, and then I would have to delete a barracks that I've already put specialists into, and my stronghold, which I totally, maybe I should have, but I don't think I do. Ambition to control 10 elder specialists. That should be a very easy one for me. I'm kind of surprised I don't already have 10 specialists. Switching to tyranny. That drops me about 50 science, but I don't really need it. I feel like once you get 200 to 300 science, you're good. The game can very much be won on about 200 science. Conquest is so powerful. There's something called assimilation. When you conquer a new city, it has like something like 50% output. It might actually scale on culture level. I don't remember how it works completely. I think it does scale on culture level, but so I think higher culture cities take longer to assimilate. But basically, your production is reduced a bunch. And this is all outputs, so science, civics, training. And it decays over time. But conquest is so strong because you'll look in cities that you've freshly conquest that are still under assimilation, and they're generating like 20 science. 99 population out of 100. I get that training boost. This is so silly. This is so silly. Yeah, I don't get it. Oh, you know what? And we're at mangonels now. They're not onagers, they're mangonels, so that becomes more of a problem because they have pikes that I do not have. They have mangonels that I do not have. Conscripts are, they have longbows. Oh, I do have longbows. Conscripts are annoying. They can do a surprising amount of damage, and they can really get in the way of stuff. One time I was conquering a nation that just spammed conscripts more than anything, and I had cataphracts. So you'd think that would be enough. And my primary force ended up being cataphracts in this game for whatever reason. And I'm trying to conquer this nation, and 80% of its army is conscripts, and I was shocked at how much of a chore it was to actually conquer that nation, even though all they had was conscripts. So I'm a bit salty towards them. Maintaining the peace. I don't even know where the Vandals are, to be honest. Assyria is stronger and more erudite than me, which we could tell because they have mangonels and I don't. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing up here. I'm getting, if you're watching this video, maybe don't do that, because I could just, all of the units I've lost so far could just be in Massa, that city right there, being stockpiled to make a more efficient attack. Rather than losing the 10 or so units that I've lost, a couple of swordsmen, I believe. But I really love this game because of the tactical element. Because this ends up not going so bad because there's just so many different ways to do extra damage between route and stuff. So I guess I took that city. This video is coming to a close. Oh, but not to end out on a bit of a call out here, but in the event that No Legs is still watching, this ship, man, I can't stress enough how the AI in this game is just the best AI you're going to find, but I feel like Alex needs to figure out what's going on with this ship right here because I do not know why it attacked that worker. yeah, and I even pointed it out. So, if you're still watching, the AI in this game is amazing. I love this game. Nothing's ever gonna be perfect, and that's okay. But there's a funny little moment where that boat didn't make a good call. All right, so that's going to wrap up part 2 of this video. Thanks for watching. Part 3 will come out shortly, and we're going to continue throwing units at Assyria, I suppose. Egypt is pretty much done for, so all I need to do is consolidate and keep pushing. Thanks for watching.